Welcome to Rider Nation Station, presented by American Manufacturing Solutions, your total logistics partner, investing in Rider Nation Station and St. Mary's, Ohio, and to our other fine sponsors.
Welcome to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. My name is Zach Farrell. Mark, here we are, second week of the season already. Rough Riders played Bath on Friday night. Good win by the Rough Riders. We have a few clips to look here in a second.
Good deal.
How was your first week as officiating in 2020?
It was different. Mask on the field, not a lot of people in the stands. You don't feel the electric atmosphere that you normally do, especially on an opening weekend type situation. The game went fine, the coaches were fine, the players played, but it just had this feel like almost a scrimmage atmosphere in the first week for us.
Any specific, I guess, for lack of a better word, COVID-related issues that popped up during the game?
No, we were up north at Whitmer High School, and the staff there did an excellent job. The AD did an excellent job. Everything was in place. He was following protocol. All the coaches were, and they were well schooled. And no, we didn't have any issues that we know of, and no repercussions that we're aware of. So it went pretty good as far as that goes.
Now, Mark, after last week, we talked a lot about the different COVID-related requirements, the spreading out of the teams, the wearing the masks when the helmets are off, the ball being placed a certain way. One question that came in was, whose job is it to enforce that? Will a team look at a potential penalty on the field if they're not following any of the COVID rules?
That is not the official's responsibility. Anything outside the white lines as far as players' separation or wearing masks or things of that nature, people in the stands, they've told us that's not our deal. We're to focus on the game like we always did, and separation and players that are not playing on the sideline with masks, that's the team, game administration, and whatnot. So we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And, from what we've seen after week one, the coaches are doing a pretty good job. Kids are kids. They'll forget, they'll bunch up or whatever. But the coaches, from what we heard and saw, did a pretty good job of keeping them trying to follow the protocols. And they should.
That's good to hear. I think we saw the same thing in our Bath St. Mary's game. The only thing that really jumped out at me is during the halftime, some of the teams stayed on the field so they didn't put too many kids in the locker room, which I thought was a good step.
Right.
Just looked a little different.
It did. Where we went, the teams went back to the locker rooms, but they had, for the visiting team where we were close to, they were using hallways in the school, and they were really spread out. They had them spread out and whatnot. So I'm sure we'll see teams not leave the field as long as the weather is nice. With 6 weeks, the weather should be really decent up through, week 6. So, you get this, it's almost a JV junior high atmosphere, so to speak, at halftime. But, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to start looking at some of the clips from the game on Friday night. And, Mark, there was one particular play, a hurdle call that I think a lot of the St. Mary's fans are going to be interested in your take about. So
okay, good enough.
We'll be back right after this.
Whether your goals include college education funding, retirement planning, generating income, or reducing taxes, at Glass Daringer Investment Management, we've got you covered. Stop in and speak with Jeff Daringer or Kevin Glass at 100 West Spring Street today. Glass Daringer Investment Management, securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
For all your sporting good needs, visit Albert Sporting Goods at 121 West Spring Street, serving the St. Mary's community since 1980.
Guarneri's on Spring Street, home of the signature Big Ralph Sub, Pizza, and Calzone. Come try our thirst-quenching Rider-Aid before, during, and after the game. It's Guarneri's. Give them a call, 419-394-2244.
And welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm Zach Farrell. Just to keep in mind, everybody at home, please take the time right now to join our YouTube station and subscribe to us on Facebook. That's how you can make sure that you're getting the latest shows each week, including our live broadcasts on Friday night. We just this week broadcast the live ladies Rough Rider soccer game. So we're trying to branch out into different areas, and that's how you can stay connected with us. Mark, we want to look at a couple different plays here from the game on Friday night.
All right.
The first one here was a QB sneak right on the goal line. Just wanted to know what the officials are looking at when they're deciding whether the QB got into the end zone or not.
All right. Well, let's take a look and see what's going on. Yeah, basic dive by the quarterback right to get in. The officials, the wing officials there, are basically trying to find the football, and they're looking for the ball. A lot of times on a play like that, there'll be a big pile right at the point of attack, right at the goal line, and sometimes we have to dig. And a lot of times it's going to be survival of the fittest in there, and because you have nothing else to go on, unless you really know he was stopped. They did the right thing. They came in, took their time, found the football, and signals touchdown. So
in this particular play, the QB actually fumbled it too. So they signaled a touchdown. It counted as a touchdown, but the ball comes out. You can see at the end. I guess I thought this would maybe be a good opportunity to remind fans at home of when that ball counts as a touchdown as opposed to a fumble.
That's a good point. The goal line is a plane. The goal line itself sets in the end zone. So the front edge of that line is like a plane of glass, if you will, that goes from the ground up to infinity. As soon as the ball, any part of the ball, breaks that plane or that piece of glass, so to speak, it's touchdown. What happens after that doesn't matter, because at that point you hit the plane of glass, touchdown, dead ball. He could fumble it. What wouldn't matter at that point.
And that's clearly what the officials said in that circumstance, that the ball was across the plane before the fumble had happened. So,
right. So he's fumbled a dead football. Means nothing.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to take a look at the next play here. In the next play, this was a punting situation for Bath. Bath coaches and fans thought that it touched somebody on the St. Mary's side. I've looked at it a couple of times. I didn't see it, but I just was curious what the officials are looking at. Are they supposed to watch the ball the entire time as it's moving around to see whether it touches somebody, or are they supposed to? Where is their focus during that situation?
Well, the focus is on, first of all, depending on how far it's kicked. All right. But really, yes, you're looking for the ball, players touching it. It could have an impact on who's going to come up with the football at the end of the play. From what I saw there, I didn't see anything that would indicate St. Mary's touched it, unless it was something right there at the end where the St. Mary's player was diving on it. But, we're going to take a look at it again to see if we can look and see what's up. So he doesn't kick it very far.
No.
And then apparently it bounces back. It's on the ground. And all of a sudden you've got a Bath kid that jumps on it, and normally they're not going to jump on it if nobody's touched it.
Right.
So there may be an indication there that it may have touched somebody.
I always wonder too how much of that though is that they're coached to, if it comes close to another player, jump on it like it touched them, so to speak.
Could be, or he could say, you know what, I don't want it rolling back towards our goal line any further. Let's get on that.
Yeah.
So it could be. I see the ball there is right along the sideline. It may have hit this player right on the sideline in the back, bounced up and hit him, but it's still rolling on the ground, and nobody's making a move at that point.
Yeah.
So the official was standing right there.
And it's pretty hard to see, but I think we have another view of this one.
Okay, so you got to assume he saw it clearly. Not always the case, but.
And here's from the back view.
And maybe it grazed the player, maybe it didn't. I mean, the Bath coaches are jumping up and down. Maybe they saw something. It's obvious the official didn't agree with them. It might have. It truly might have.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't personally couldn't see it as much, but I thought it was interesting where the Bath players and the coaches jumped up and down. And I don't think any of the officials on field, fortunately for St. Mary's, were in any position to see it necessarily one way or another. And so maybe the benefit of the doubt went to St. Mary's.
The back
in that
judge
case.
wouldn't have a look. There's a wing guy that's coming down. He might have been screened. So we're 5 guys out there, and there's 22 kids in the football, and you that's not an excuse. It's just sometimes you don't see what happened.
Well, the next play we have here was actually unfortunate hold call on the St. Mary's right tackle. And so if you're looking at the right tackle here, these are those types of cases where the right tackle gets into their man and pushes them over, and if it goes backwards, they get a hold call a lot of times.
Wow. That's a tough one there. It looked like he was engaged pretty well, at least from this angle. We're going to see him snap the football here in a sec, get into his man and start pushing.
He's got a little bit of a hold under the arm, it looks like, maybe that was the problem.
Well, maybe that was the problem, but the other thing is, did we really gain an advantage? That's the thing you have to look at here. It looks like the play went for 2 or 3 yards, if that, and maybe the ball carrier was past the tackle at that point. So normally holds at the line of scrimmage will start right at the line of scrimmage and not occur 4 or 5 steps into the play unless it's a wide open type situation. I can't. It's tough to see. If there was a better angle, maybe we could see, but maybe it was correct, maybe it wasn't.
It's a tough call, I think. To me, it seemed 50-50. It maybe technically could be holding, but I thought it was a little ticky-tacky. And it seemed like to me that it was just being called because it was more out in the open. You could see it kind of being pushed.
Possibly. They tell us, if it's something out in the open like that in front of, the whole world, maybe you should call it. But if it didn't have an effect on the play, if there was no advantage gain there, then keep it in your pocket.
Okay. Well, this next play was a punt that went out of bounds. It was something that Joe had mentioned during our broadcast. He was curious as to, and I think we talked a little bit about this last year, but whose job is it to mark that ball that goes out of bounds? I think you'll see in this particular instance the line judge start to mark a certain location, and then the back judge kind of moving forward and pointing to a different area for the line judge to go.
Well, that's a short kick. And so the back judge is probably not going to be much of help there unless he actually sees it bounce inbounds and roll out of bounds. He may have a good look. But that's going to be a wing guy type of look along with the referee. Or in this case, maybe the umpire who's acting as a center judge here may have an angle on where it went out. So that in theory, we're supposed to line that up with the wing guy coming forward and the referee looking diagonally, and basically it's a guess.
So are all the officials supposed to work together in that and say, this is where we think we saw it go out?
Well, on that side of the field, obviously you're going to have the line judge at that point, the back judge, and maybe the referee trying to triangulate it, if you will,
right,
and try to come up with the best guess.
Okay.
Now, with a short kick like that, there may be a good reason for the line judge to have the spot or get really close to it, except if it flew out on a fly, and it was way high. Then you're going to have no idea.
Well, I think that was Joe's question, is that supposed to defer to the side judge who's right along the line, or is it supposed to be a group decision?
Team effort in this case.
We always like the more eyes on a situation. It seems that you're getting better results. You don't want to just always, in my opinion, you just say, well, whatever they say is definitely it. You want them to be able to talk to each other and make sure. Right.
In this case, it's going to be a guess. So you do the best you can, and you go from there.
This next play that we have is it was no pass interference called, but I thought it was kind of a close play, a good bang-bang situation. St. Mary's is then defending against the Bath pass. You can see the ball kind of touch the player's hands there at the end, and I thought the contact was real close to being just a little bit earlier, just a little bit, perfectly. And fortunately for St. Mary's, nothing was called. So just wanted your...
Yeah, that's a tough look. I mean, the ball is away from us, and it looks like the receiver's trying to maybe throw it, catch it over his shoulder, running away. Was there contact? Maybe, but maybe it was just right at the end of the play where, we got a double defender. I don't know, Zach. I think that's probably a good no call on that one.
Good. Well, and that's why it was called in the field. So, what are the officials looking at that? Do they need clear proof that there was contact before the ball touches the hands?
Yeah, you got to have contact to have pass interference in high school football. There's no face guarding anymore. That went away 3 or 4 years ago. You got to have contact. There has to be a restriction of some point or a turning of the body to keep the receiver away from the football. There's several different categories that we look for in a situation pass interference. Maybe you're bumping the receiver off intentionally or something like that. In this case here, the only question is whether or not the defender hindered the receiver in trying to catch the football before the ball got there.
That contact has to be hindering? Can it be incidental contact?
Well, if there's incidental contact, two people running side by side looking back for the football, and one of them, they stumble onto each other's feet, you have nothing. By rule, there's nothing there. Now, if you've got two people running side by side and you got the receiver looking and the defender's not looking, and they get their feet tangled up, you might have a case for defensive pass interference.
Okay.
Not always, but so incidental contact is nothing. But you got to know that there was a definite hindrance or restriction for DPI or OPI to be called.
Yeah, and we didn't hear too much complaining from Bath or their fans during that call or anything like that. So I think everybody kind of, when it's real close like that, they like giving the advantage to the defender. Feels like, kind of a let them play football sort of situation.
And that's the mentality that's out there, yes.
All right, and the next clip that we're going to look at was a movement that occurred before the snap. And I know this came up a couple times last year, and we want to talk about what makes that a penalty or not. So, because I know we talked last year about somebody can move as long as they get reset before it, or they can move forward.
From what I saw there, it looked like the wing back there. Oh, that should have been penalized as a false start right away. He jumped. He mistimed the snap count. That play should not have run at all.
Yeah,
right
it wasn't
there.
called. And my only thinking was if we watch it again, the quarterback was not yet into his stance set, so I didn't know if that counted or not.
That doesn't make any difference. He's down. He's missed the snap count big time.
Okay.
And if he had just stood up nonchalantly, casually, and then went back down, no problem. But this kid in the wingback missed the snap count. That's foul.
So they look at whether it's
the ball's ready for
not.
play at that point. The umpire's moved away from it. The ball's ready for play. He's got his hand on the ground. He's missed the snap count. That should have been a foul.
Okay, we're going to look at our clip number 7 here, and I think I misspoke earlier when the punt went out of bounds. We talked about how that gets marked. This next clip is the one where I saw the multiple officials run in and change where it was set up.
All right, let's take a look.
So as it goes out, you can see the side judge start to mark it back there about 10 or 20 yards before where the ball went out, and at the same time you can see this back judge point that it went out a little bit further up.
Right. Let's see if we can see that again, or go back 10 seconds and see what's up.
So this was early in the game. Bath had punted, pretty good punt, but it went out of bounds. And as you see, the line judge starts to mark it, and the back judge points him.
Yeah, he started slowing down. He's looking for some help there, I think. But quite honestly, to stand back there and point like that doesn't do anybody any good.
Okay.
I mean, if he had a spot, he should have came over, or at least stayed. Normally, he's going to be inside the hash, and he's going to have a better look. He should have come up the field a little bit and squared off, and at least gave the wing guy an opportunity to come down and mark the spot in the proper location.
Well, I kind of wonder too, if you think you know where you saw it go out, why not run over to the sideline and mark it?
And that's what I tell my crew. Look, if you've got it on a situation like that, and the wing guy's coming through and he's in traffic and may not have a clue, if you've got it, come on over there. And make sure there's nothing else going on, mind you. But come on over there and at least get close to where the ball is so you can give some direction. Yes.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, as promised, we're going to see the hurdle play.
Here we go.
Talk about that because Joe and I were just flabbergasted on the air. So very excited about that. We're going to come back with more Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco right after this.
St. Mary's Foundry wants to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all our local teams, wishing them a safe and extraordinary season. And speaking of great teams, St. Mary's Foundry would like to thank its very own team of hardworking employees for their loyalty and dedication. If you're looking for rewarding challenges and first-string wages and benefits, check us out at stmfoundry.com or on hometownopportunities.com. St. Mary's Foundry, where iron and ingenuity meet. Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of fresh donuts daily, open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Salina, and Walpock. Also now found in Wagner's IGA in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie.
Auglaze Equipment Rental is your source for all your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road or auglazeequipmentrental.com or just call 419-394-7883. Auglaze Equipment Rental.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm Zach Farrell. Join us every week as we bring to you the different views of the game from an official standpoint. Be sure to join us on Friday night as Rider Nation Station brings you Wapakoneta live at Joint Township at the Grand Lake Health Systems Field here in St. Mary's, Ohio for live Friday night football. Mark, this first play here was a late hit on the St. Mary's QB. It wasn't called though, so I wanted to just talk about what this was called. Sorry, what the officials are looking at in that situation, and the QB was not knocked down, but a late hit was still called.
Yeah, they called a dead ball foul. The quarterback was clearly out of bounds there. As an official, you're going to have to judge. Okay, was this something that was really needed to be called? They tell us to err on the side of safety there. There was no reason for that kid to put his hands on him or whatever. And granted, it wasn't flagrant. It wasn't even hard. But he was well out of bounds, and you're going to get that flag on the sideline for that.
Are they going to do they give benefits of the doubt if the defender starts his motion of hitting the quarterback while the quarterback's inbounds and it carries it?
Yeah, you could. I mean, if you got as long as the runner or the ball carrier are still inbounds, even though you may know he may be headed out of bounds, he's fair game. So if there's contact while inbounds, that's just the way it is. If it's bang bang at the sideline, it's probably a good hit. And likewise, if you started to make the tackle and the runner crosses the sideline, and of course you want to see him, you pull him down. As a tackler, you can't just let go and be expected to, just let go and not finish the tackle, so to speak. Leeway there. Now, different story, you start to make the tackle, and then there's some extra effort at the end of the play.
So if you have time to make a different decision and go a different direction, basically, or just pull up and not hit so hard.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's on the defense there to know where the sideline is and what, when the contact's going to be good or not.
And we saw that, later in the game. I pointed that out during the broadcast that one of the St. Mary's defenders pulled up and after a pass to avoid roughing the passer. He was engaged with that quarterback, and he could have driven him to the ground. He could have tried to take him down. He threw his arms out. Even though he was in the quarterback, he had contact with the quarterback. It was clear he was trying not to further engage.
Probably a good thing,
right?
Truthfully. So that tells us as a referee, look, I'm not trying to do anything here. I'm just, I'm not able to just get off of him at the drop of a hat, so to speak.
Seemed like a smart play at that time.
Right.
And that's what the players have to learn how to control and how to do.
Correct. Part of the game.
We're going to look at the next play here. This was a hook and ladder play by St. Mary's, as we famously have tried several times the last couple years. It was deemed an incomplete pass, so I was just curious what the officials are looking at to determine whether it's a complete or incomplete pass. On
well,
something
it looks
that.
like to me, I mean, it was. I know what they tried to do there. I'm assuming the ball was thrown forward. Looks like it was.
It was, yeah.
It was clearly an incomplete pass. He didn't have any control over it. He didn't catch the football and make a football move, as they say. Didn't take a couple steps. Didn't tuck it away. It just basically bounced off his hands, or the defender just, created enough chaos so he couldn't catch the football.
If he would have been able to grab it and quickly toss it, is that automatically a football move if he's able to toss it?
Well, if he's standing on the ground and he catches the football and he tosses it, absolutely, that's a football move. Now, there was a play last year, I believe, in the OG game where St. Mary's threw a ball downfield and the receiver went up in the air and basically had it and then tossed it backwards to a teammate without touching the ground. That technically was still a forward pass when it hit the ground.
So it's an incomplete pass technically.
It would have been an incomplete pass. What
not
the
a
officials
lateral.
did, what they did is they marked it right at where the ball hit the ground, and the St. Mary's receiver, the second one, recovered the football, thinking it's a fumble. Well, possession is not technically gained legally until you come back down to the ground with the football. Here, this player's standing on the ground. He just never had it. It's an incomplete pass.
Makes sense, and St. Mary's likes to run this play. I'm sure we'll see it a few more times.
I'm sure
this
you
year.
will. Yep.
We're gonna look at the next play. This was holding again on the right tackle. I'm trying not to target one player too much, but there was only a couple holding calls, and it was the right tackle both times. Another play too, where you saw the right tackle turn the guy around in the backfield. We got two angles on this, so just curious what your thoughts were. We saw the last one. I thought this one was a little bit more egregious than the last one, as far as.
Wow, I'm initially both looks. I'd say it's just a good block myself. I mean, the player goes out. Can we possibly run that back 10 seconds, and see what happens?
Yeah,
here?
and I didn't see him holding anything. Again, he's got a little bit of the arm, but turning somebody around and blocking them to the ground is not usually
the defender went that way, and he just took him where he wanted to go. I'm not sure. I wasn't there, but I'm gonna be the politically correct here and say I wasn't there to see, what little intricacies might have been there. But initially, it doesn't. It looks like it's a good block to me from here.
Interesting, good. Well, I hate to question the calls on the
No,
field
I
when they
get it.
happen, and it's always easier for us to look at it now and slower motion and
absolutely.
see it. But to me as a former lineman, I'm thinking, well, if the guy that I'm engaged with is going to turn around, I'm going to keep pushing him that way.
Well, the question is was there a restriction, a material restriction? I think the defender went outside and the tackle took him that way. Did it have an effect on the play? No. By the time the defender got around the offensive tackle, the ball was already gone. Was it a takedown? Yeah, they both ended up on the ground, but you're going to have that when you've got two kids that are pushing on one another. So I don't know that it fit all the criteria.
All right, Mark, the time has come.
Oh, here we go.
We're ready for the hurdle play. So what you're going to see here is a handoff by St. Mary's to the wingback and to the tailback, I guess. As he's going outside, defender gets into a tackle motion.
Indeed.
Rough Rider halfback hurdles him.
Yep.
Joe and I are going ecstatic on the broadcast, say what an athletic play by St. Mary's. Next thing we know, there's a flag on the ground.
Yeah, this is right now we've got the defender standing up on both feet. And the offensive guy starts to go over him. The rule says if that defender had been down on a knee, laying on the ground, just one foot on the ground and the other one on the knee, then it's fine. Then he's not standing up. Then the defender's not technically up off the ground. But with that, yes, he's starting to go down to make the tackle, but he's still on 2 feet and nothing else is touching the ground. So that is a correct call, even though we may not like it. Everybody's thinking about the ESPN and the Herschel Walker and blah, 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 blah. But in high school football, that is illegal for safety reasons.
And this is only high school, right? Not college, not NFL.
Different rules apply. But here, the running back is in just as much danger as the defender, probably even more so, because he starts up over him and the defender stands up and catches a leg or something like that. You could have a flip, and now you got heads hitting and injuries of that nature. That's what the rule is designed to prevent.
Anytime you're increasing the height that somebody is falling to the ground, you're going to increase the potential for injuries.
Somebody may ask, well, what's the difference between that and diving over the pile? Well, the rule says you can't lead with a foot, leg, knee, foremost as a hurdler would. If you dive over the pile, then the chances are slimmer that you're going to get flipped. So to speak. All right. Yes, you're putting arms and legs and helmet in danger and everything else, like running backs try to dive over a goal line. But this is dangerous not only to the running back but to the defender as well.
So, in this situation, when was that rule created? Or because I'm sure there's
that
gonna be a lot
rule,
of people.
The high school rule, that's been in the rule books for a long time. Now, when I started 38 years ago, it was there, but you didn't call it. And even up until 10 years ago, you didn't call it. And it was unheard of. That's not the case anymore. Now they want it called.
So this is kind of a renewed emphasis type of thing that they've told you
now
about.
they want it called and to get rid of it, try to get rid of it and get it out of the game. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that was definitely by far the most controversial call that we had during the game. I'm sure everybody at home was looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, they didn't like it, but it's a correct call.
Right. And we'll have to see if that's something that gets coached differently in the future and that comes up. But it's really tough, I guess, to tell a guy to. Correct.
He's trying to make an athletic play, and
right.
I get that. I understand
right.
that, and that's what people like to see.
Right.
But at the high school level, fortunately it's illegal.
We're gonna look at the next play here. This is a goal line. Bath is on their own goal line, and St. Mary's is defending. And it was real close to being a safety. I was just curious what the official's looking at as far as the player's momentum stop. You can see the St. Mary's players got up and really wanted that
Yeah,
safety there.
they always do that anytime the ball carrier lands in the end zone like that. I believe from this view that the forward progress of the ball carrier was stopped in the field of play, and you can see him getting pushed back there. So forward progress was indeed stopped. It might have been at the 1 yard line, the half-yard line, or wherever, but we got the wing guys out on the side. They're looking for the football, and their job is to determine forward progress.
Now, if theoretically he gets out of that tackle and starts to run forward and then he gets tackled again, does his forward progress restart in the end zone? Basically,
yes. I mean, if he gets loose from that and we haven't killed it, then, whatever happened previous to him getting loose is gone. It's not a big deal. So if he gets loose and then gets tackled in the end zone, yeah, you're going to have a safety at that point.
Sometimes the running back then is maybe better to go down if they know that they're close to that sort of thing rather than
to try to. Now, normally we're going to probably say, look, he was going backwards, forward progress is stopped, we got a dead ball. So if he did come loose, it's already a dead football anyway.
Right.
All right. So we're told not to look for cheap points in that situation.
Sure.
All right. So here's a little rule tidbit though that people may not know. If he had gotten loose and fell forward, and the ball had landed directly on the goal line with 4 inches of it in the field of play and the rest of the ball in the end zone. Question for you, safety or not?
Well, you're asking me, the obvious thing would be we talked about earlier, the plane of the end zone is the plane of the end zone. So
Right.
it should be a safety, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay, good. All
Correct.
right.
No matter that we got 4 inches out but so when you
thought
put
it was
the
a
ball
trick
down,
question there.
It's not a trick question. That would be a safety
Okay.
in that
And
situation.
the ball has to be completely out of the end zone.
Completely out of the end zone to avoid a safety, yes.
Similar to like soccer, the ball has to be completely in the goal before it
Don't
counts
know a
as
thing
a
about
goal.
soccer. I can't
I
help
just
you
learned
there.
that last night from Doug Spencer and Dave Ring, so I figured I'd throw that in here.
Well, then those are smart guys, that's for sure.
We're on our last play here.
Okay.
Last clip. This was a case where the St. Mary's running back was deemed down before the ball came out. That's what That's what you can see the guy coming in there and marking that.
Right.
Just curious what the officials are looking for and what he's seeing in that situation.
He's looking for anything other than the hand, foot touching the ground, probably a knee in that situation, shoulder possibly. The ground in this case cannot cause a fumble.
Right.
All right, so if he comes through the line and he trips, and normally the knee goes down, and then the ball comes loose for whatever reason, he's going to be down. And they're pretty good about catching that sort of thing. Most of the time, he's going to be down in a situation like that. And he was emphatic. He did the right thing. He pointed these downs to try to take all doubt away whatsoever.
Right.
And it looks like it was a good call from here.
Excellent. Well, I was hoping that you'd say that because that's what we thought on the field, and that's what it looks like in the replay. So, Mark, thank you again for joining us.
It's always a pleasure, Zach.
We'll be back next week again with more rules of the game. Be sure, like I said before, to subscribe to Rider Nation Station on YouTube and Facebook so you can catch all of our great shows and live sporting events this year. We'll look forward to seeing you next week after we examine some of the St. Mary's Rough Riders and Wapakoneta Redskins. We'll be live here Friday night in St. Mary's.
Good deal.
Thank you, Mark, and we'll see you next week.
See you, Zach.
American Manufacturing Solutions is proud to invest in St. Mary's and proud to sponsor Rough Rider football. Think AMS, think logistics, done right. AMS is your complete supply chain solutions provider. Have electrical service needs? AMS can take care of that too. Call us at 419-300-1007 or visit us at AmericanMFGSolutions.com.
Whether your goals include college education funding, retirement planning, generating income, or reducing taxes, at Glass Derringer Investment Management, we've got you covered. Stop in and speak with Jeff Derringer or Kevin Glass at 100 West Spring Street today. Glass Derringer Investment Management. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.